Welcome back. A total of 12.6 million rand was awarded to entrepreneurs by the SAB Foundation last night. And some of these 17 innovators walked away with more than R1 million to invest in their businesses. So to tell us more about the awards and the importance of corporate investment in social innovation, I'm now joined by the SAB Foundation Director, Bridget Evans. Bridget, thank you so much for your time and welcome to the South African Morning. This is the news that we would love to hear because we know that, businesses, innovators have been under pressure due to the pandemic and even some businesses closing. But before we get into the awards, as SAB, what have been your interactions with business owners, with, entrepreneurs and their experiences in as far as the pandemic is concerned?
Well, last year we have a number of businesses that we've worked with, and so we launched a sort of a COVID relief fund to try and protect the businesses that we already invested in, and we had 20 million rand available. But when we asked them to fill in applications for it, we asked them to tell us what they had done to try and assist their own businesses during this time, and we were absolutely amazed at the level of innovation across the board from businesses. And actually, we want to write about it at some stage when enough time has passed, because it's really a story that's worth telling.
And I know that you share a passion yourself as well as SAB to make, a difference, in livelihoods through business development. What do these awards mean to you and SAB? Why did you conceptualize these events? What were you hoping to achieve through awarding, these millions to these social innovators?
Well, this is the 10th year we've done it, and essentially we have the entrepreneurship that we support. We sort of have four main beneficiary groups, and that's women, youth, people in rural areas, and people with disabilities. And we support a number of entrepreneurs that work across the country that are running sort of regular type businesses. But we thought, in order to address South Africa's many challenges, why don't we look at entrepreneurs that are trying to solve social problems? Because, the knock-on effect of investing in an entrepreneur like that is enormous if that idea reaches scale. So that was really what made us conceptualize it, because it's not just about profit and about job creation, but it's also about solving or helping a problem that really the country needs addressed, but in a sustainable way, because we've got obviously a lot of traditional NGO activity plus government activity, but sometimes, addressing something in a new way can solve a problem much more efficiently. And we have a number, these entrepreneurs work across the board in tackling issues like education, health, sustainable livelihoods, township security, township economies,
right,
water. So you can imagine, if they can get it right and they can reach scale, the effect could be really big.
I want you then to tell me more about those finalists. You mentioned just some of the different industries with which these social innovators cater to, but what are some of the finalists that you had, or even perhaps some that even stood out for SAB?
Well, I can talk about the main award winners. We had 3 overall winners. Everyone got funding, so we will be working with all of them. But the top 3 were, one was a company that's been set up and uses pineapple waste essentially to make non-disposable nappies, and they have a number of women with intellectual disabilities that actually make these nappies. It's in Port Alfred, so it's an area where there is high unemployment, and also there's an environmental impact on that one. So it's interesting to us. And then there is a business operating out of Pietermaritzburg where this entrepreneur connects a whole lot of rural farmers, smallholder farmers that really struggle to access markets. He connects them to the urban market, so he collects all of their vegetables, but he also helps them to build up a credit record over time.
Right.
If they deliver on time, then he can assist them further.
That's quite interesting, because I'm looking at even some of, the finalists here that you have listed through this, competition and this award ceremony. And Bridget, I wanted to know, I mean, you have been involved in innovation for many, many years. How important is it, especially at a time and an era that we're living in right now?
It's absolutely critical. You need things that disrupt the normal ways that things have been done forever, because we simply aren't solving the problems that we need to solve. And so if we're really serious about solving them, we actually have to invest in innovation that changes the way we operate. So things like online education, for example, now it's a norm. A couple of years ago it wasn't, and beginning of this time last year it wasn't.
Yeah.
But you can see now how critical online education is, and particularly now the lack of access to computers for many, many kids is a huge problem. So we've got a lot of innovation in that space. And then the area, healthcare, rural healthcare is simply, there's just not enough doctors in rural areas. So we've got a number of innovations that actually use nurses. One of the finalists this year uses nurses to deliver basic health. And we also have, again, online treatment where the rural doctors can connect into the public sector specialists in hospitals. And they're treating hundreds of thousands of patients that way. So you can imagine it's much cheaper and it's much more efficient. It's much faster for patients to get treatment. Absolutely. So these kinds of innovation are really critical for the country.
Well, thank you so much, Bridget, for joining us here on the show and talking to us about this. And I'm sure all the, entrepreneurs who won some money are going to put it to good use and to assist. That was Bridget Evans, Director of the SAB Foundation.